Shalom, greetings from Over the Fence Urban Farm. I'm Jodi and I'm here to offer a quick talk about Lulav and Etrog and making our own as a form of reconnecting ourselves with our own natural environment and the species that surround us as we emerge from the cocoon of the high holidays and re-engage ourselves with the world around us. So real quick, Hazon, the environmental Jewish organization, teaches us on their website that American Jews import at least 500,000 Etrog and Lulav from Israel every year. And while this is a beautiful and amazing tradition and way for us to stay connected with Israel and with the species that are mentioned in the Torah, it is not a sustainable practice. So for those of us who are concerned with staying connected with our local environments and eating and growing local and reducing our carbon footprint by using resources that are closer to home, I offer this teaching on how we can use Lulav and Etrog as a way to engage ourselves with the plants and flowers that we find in our own backyards and communities, and as a way to reimagine the practice of creating and holding and blessing Lulav and Etrog. So there's many layers of symbolism in Lulav and Etrog, and it's something that I encourage you, if you've never spent time studying, to do a little bit of reading about. The internet is full of resources talking about the connection between our shaking to the north and to the south and the east and the west as a way of connecting us with the cardinal directions, with the four elements of earth, air, wind, and fire, of it connecting with us with our senses, so the touch and the smell and the taste and the feel and the listening and all of these things. So it's very beautiful. Today I'm going to focus on the symbolism of the different parts of the Lulav and our body parts. So traditionally the tall Lulav is representative of our spines and reminds us that as we connect with the divine presence in the universe, whether it's when we're praying and we're blessing the Lulav and Etrog, or whether we're just walking on the way and living our best life, that we should be upright in our posture. So I don't have a palm tree in my backyard, but I did find this amazing stalk of kale, which has been growing on the farm since last March. And you can see that it's very tall, and it has bumps and ridges where the different kale leaves were connected to it, and these ridges are a little bit reminiscent of the vertebrae in our spine, and so I liked that element of it. I left a little bit of plant on the top so we can get a little shaking like we get with our Lulav, and I also left the roots on the bottom. And I left these here because as I was walking around the farm looking for things to use, I realized the roots, really remind us of the veins and the arteries in our body, which carry our blood and our vital fluids that help us to stay alive and vibrant, and without which we could not pray, and we could not be connected with the interbreathing of the world. So speaking of that interbreathing, and building on Rabbi Waskow's description of the name of God as or the interbreathing of the world, I chose this fennel frond, and you can see that it was a flower, and it has these different spikes that go to the seeds. And for me, this reminded me of the tiny little air pockets that we have in our lungs that again keep us breathing and alive so that we can engage in Jewish practice. This is a milkweed pod, and many of you will know that the milkweed is the plant that supports the life of the monarch butterfly, an amazing symbol of transformation and turning that we can connect with at this time of turning in our calendar and the turning in ourselves. I also thought that this part, the pod, really reminds me a lot of the stomach. And for many of us, our Judaism is tied very deeply to what we eat, whether it's thinking about the food Jewishly and sustainably and ethically, or also just thinking about it culturally, and that these foods keep us connected to our people. So I chose the milkweed for that reason. And the final, more like interpretive piece that I added was these hyacinth pods, hyacinth bean pods. And both the pods and, if you've ever looked at a bean itself, remind me of the kidneys. And the kidneys help to flush out toxins and keep us going every day. And so I think they're just beautiful in this bouquet, which I've come to realize in the last week of thinking more about Lulav and talking about it in a new way, that really what we're creating is a bouquet to keep us, to help us connect, to help us reconnect with the earth around us. I also included some oregano because our Lulav should have a nice smell, and the oregano also has a shape very similar to the traditional myrtle, which reminds us of our eyes. And that when we include the myrtle or something that reminds us of our eyes in our Lulav, it reminds us to be enlightened and to keep our eyes open to the world around us, and seek those holy blessings every day. And I also included some sage. Again, it just smells amazing. And it also has a shape similar to the willow leaf, which is supposed to remind us of our lips, and our lips that say blessings. So this is my Lulav. I would love to see what your Lulav looks like. So please send me images. Think about posting to social media. You can use a hashtag DIY Lulav. We've been kept company with some vines, I see. My final thought is the Etrog is a little bit harder to find, but I did discover this last year that I have these amazing passion flowers. Oops, my chickens are attacking my dog. That's funny timing. Not funny, haha, but these beautiful passion flowers in the garden. And when they turn into a fruit, you can see the flower still attached to the fruit. And this reminds us of that pitom that we see on the Etrog. The passion fruit does not have a smell as lovely as the Etrog, but if you can find that smell somewhere else in your Lulav, you can make up for it that way. So good luck making your Lulav and Etrog, and Chag Sameach, Shavua Tov.